In 2013, Oprah Winfrey sat down with Dr. Maya Angelou, and she asked her, "What's the best advice that you've ever given?" To which Angelou recalled a story about her son, who had come to her many, many years before when he was young, saying how much he wanted friends and asking her how he could get some. And she offered him this advice. First, in order to get a friend, you've got to be ready to be a friend. And second, that, and this is a quote, that there is a place in you that you must keep inviolate. You must keep it pristine, clean, so that nobody has a right to curse you or treat you badly. Nobody. Because that may be the place you go to when you meet God. You have to have a place where you say, "Stop it, back up, not here, no." Say no because I said so. Because, she said, that place has to remain clean and clear. I had an awakening on Friday morning. An awakening which, quite honestly, made me angry, but it was a productive angry, which is the good kind of angry. As I pored over all my wonderful resources on joy in preparation for this month, I realized that I have let the madness and hatred and chaos and doom and gloom and fear-mongering and ugliness into the place in me that this nonsense is not welcome or allowed. I have been letting it flood in when I should have been saying, no, not here, back up, because I said so. And listen, there's a big difference between facing the truth and standing in solidarity with, and letting hate and madness into the deep, deep place within. And I had let some of it in. All those who want nothing more but for me to be exhausted, terrified, hateful, suspicious, and mistrusting of my fellows, and hopeless. They want nothing more. It got in and it dirtied that place inside that Angelou says must be kept clean and clear and inviolate. And I was pissed, and I'm sorry if that word offends you. I'm actually working really hard now to not say other words. They were all with me on Friday morning, not when I wrote this sermon. I was pissed because I'd not only let them in, but I'd let them tear at my joy and even begin to take it. No. Now, I have been contemplating joy for decades. It like the word God and love, it's my life and heart's study. And it will be until the day I die. Because joy, it's wide and it's perplexing. It's rife with paradox and endless understandings and ways in which to embody it and interpretations. And it's personal. And it moves and shape shifts as you grow and age, I like to call my joy hard-earned. And it makes me feel really good about getting older. Hard-earned. But let's unpack joy just a bit. For starters, joy is not happy. Happiness is contingent on outside circumstances. That's how I differentiate those two words. Pleasing or convenient weather for an outing or a protest. Good service at a restaurant, decent and fair compensation at your new job, good tasting chocolate ice cream at the new ice cream place. We can feel happy about these things. We can feel happy about bigger things too, the health of our friends and family, human rights being granted and upheld, or a justice of some kind. These happinesses that I'm mentioning, it's not that joy can't exist alongside them, but these happinesses are often contingent on things going a certain way. And if they don't, maybe I'm not all that happy with that $8 chocolate ice cream I just bought. Fair enough. Joy, on the other hand, is unshakable. It's not out there. It's in here. It persists. It disrupts. It is unflappable, immovable, no matter the circumstance. It is inviolate. Back up. You're not getting my joy. It is resistance. It is resistance. And maybe you have heard this phrase before, joy is resistance. Joy as resistance. It's becoming more and more pronounced and widespread these days. Its origin can be traced back to a poem written in 2008 entitled The Telly Cycle by Black womanist poet Toy Derricott. Its first line, joy is an act of resistance. This and so many other prophetic Black teachings and wisdom texts have contributed to what is called the Black Joy movement right now. From the National Museum of African American History and Culture, quote, at the heart of the Black Joy movement is what many scholars, journalists, authors, and others are describing as resistance, resilience, and the reclamation of Black humanity. Upset Homegirls co-founder Brandy Factory is quoted as saying that Black joy affirms that I am not a victim. I am an agent of change. No, back up, not in here. Joy as resistance has now gripped nearly every human rights movement. Queer joy as resistance, Latinx joy as resistance, disabled joy as resistance, trans joy as resistance, fat joy as resistance, Jewish joy as resistance, Palestinian joy as resistance. If you go home and Google any one of these, and there are countless more, you will be flooded by images, videos, events, teach-ins, protests, merchandise. Joy as resistance. In 1978, the great Audre Lorde wrote, in order to perpetuate itself, every oppression must corrupt or distort those various sources of power within the culture of the oppressed that can provide energy for change. And I'm going to repeat that. In order to perpetuate itself, every oppression must corrupt or distort those various sources of power within the culture of the oppressed that can provide energy for change. joy, felt through song, danced, written, painted, embodied, is one of those power sources. Energy that disrupts and resists this kind of corruption and distortion and oppression. Hence the current Joy is Resistance movement. Writer and public speaker Austin Channing Brown recently wrote that we, and please note that Brown is an African-American woman, as was Audre Lorde, we aren't just pursuing racial justice when we are organizing or voting or protesting or speech-making or volunteering or working. We are also pursuing justice when we indulge in joy. And I want more, she says. Not only as a part of the resistance, but because I am human, and my human dignity demands that I too experience unadulterated joy. Because I am human, and my human dignity demands that I too experience unadulterated joy. Ours is no caravan of despair, we sing. There is more joy somewhere, and I'm going to keep on till I find it. Joy is not meant to be a crumb. Now hear this. Joy does not demand you be free of pain and grief and sorrow. In fact, to know true joy, and I sense many of you know this, is to know sorrow. As the great Khalil Gibran tells us in The Prophet, your joy is your sorrow unmasked. When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of you say joy is greater than sorrow, and others say nay, sorrow is the greater, but I say unto you, they are inseparable. My friends, sorrow is your birthright, and so is joy. And we are living through troubled, shadowed days. We are living through a great and terrible disordering and turning. And if you really think about it, if you really think about what is it that we're fighting for, marching for, it's joy. Joy on behalf of those whose joy is being threatened. Am I right? Corrupted, distorted, snuffed. Their human dignities, as Austin Brown tells us, demanding, longing for, yearning for, lamenting over, lost joy, needing unadulterated joy. Isn't that what we're trying for in this world? And not one of us here doesn't want this for our marginalized siblings. Many of you are called to be on the front lines of this fight, and no matter how you are called to love the hell out of this world, for there are a multitude of ways to do this, no one of us would say that these are hurting beloveds right now should only know joy as a crumb. None of us would possibly think that or want that. None of us would say that small, inhibited, cowering, conditional joy is what we want for our kids or their kids. That is not our prayer. We might instead say, we refuse to let the world take your joy from you, and we'll do whatever it takes. We might say, you don't deserve a life without joy. We might say, your whole humanity and dignity and personhood matters to me. That is why I want this for you. We might say, I love you. That is why I want joy for you. And here's the challenge. Invert those words and blast them towards yourself. I refuse to let the world take my joy from me. I don't want that for you. Because I don't deserve that. Because my whole humanity and dignity and personhood matters. Because I love you. Yeah, it's harder to do it this way, isn't it? Joy, my dear friends, is also the justice you give yourselves. And so, as Blessed Mary Oliver writes, if you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. My spiritual companions, I need you to survive these times. And despair and terror and outrage alone will not cut it. Your joy does not need to look like mine or your neighbor's. It is yours to give into. But to find it, you must ask yourself and keep asking yourselves, what is tethering you to the beautiful? What is keeping you here? What steadies your breath and being when you are weary? By simply asking these questions, by simply being open and curious about the answers and doing your best to live them, you are an important and vital part of the rising energy and power that the oppressor wants to quiet and snuff. You are a part of the resistance. And to that I say, oh joy. Oh joy.